Alright guys, welcome to my safety presentation on slips, trips and falls today. My name is Scott Charlton and I'm the presenter today. So, does anybody know what the cost of slips, trips and falls is to the Australian economy each year? Guess
No.
anybody?
It'd be running the millions.
Billions?
Billions.
Billions?
Millions?
Millions?
Possibly millions, I'd say.
Yeah, there is.
Alright, so according to WorkSafe Australia, for the 2012-2013 financial year, the cost of slips, trips and falls was $11.5 billion. Now that's 19% of all safety costs for the year. So is anyone surprised by that?
So has it increased since 2012-13?
Well, there was no data for that yet because I think workers' compensation claims still continuing. So we're going to start off by talking about minimising the risks of slips, trips and falls in the workplace. So the role of the PCBU we're going to cover, identifying and tracking the hazards. We're going to talk about implementing risk control measures to not contribute to that $11.5 billion.
Can you just clarify what PCBU again means?
Yep, so that's a person conducting business or undertaking. So
Okay then.
basically from Neil throughout the management structure. So Safe Work New South Wales states that the PCBU must manage the health and safety risks associated with slips, trips and falls by eliminating the risk of injury as far as reasonably practicable. So they can do that by identifying the hazards, assessing the risks of identified hazards, implementing and maintaining risk control measures, and reviewing the risk control measures. So we're going to talk a little bit more about how we're going to identify those hazards and assess the risks of those hazards. So it's important to identify the hazards so that appropriate control measures can be put into place. And as we all know, prevention's the best cure, right? So you might be thinking, my workplace is really big, how am I going to identify all of these hazards all on my own? It can be a bit confusing if you're a PCBU, but luckily our workers' compensation company has a good, our insurer has a good program in place that can assist. So this is called Clubs WHS and it has a hazard and incident report form. So a little bit more about this form. It can be used when somebody's been injured. It has all the relevant details below there. You can tick box whether it's the left arm, right arm, what part of the body is injured, what medical attention, or you can use it just to report, say, a hazard. So you walk past and you constantly see this same cord running across the middle of the distro every night. You can keep reporting it. PCB can go, well, that's becoming a trend. So then they can prioritise fixing the hazards based on the most common hazards that are being found in this workplace. So all staff are currently registered to use this program, but I haven't really implemented it as such yet, but it will come out very soon.
So everyone's able to log into that?
Everyone's got their own logins,
Okay.
yep.
Yep. Okay.
I've set them all up in the system. So it's sent out emails. I've had about 15 people respond to it. I haven't added you yet, Ted, but I've had about 15 people respond and actually activate their login. So a few people are on there ready to go.
Can you activate me?
I can, yeah. I can get you in there as soon as possible.
Wow, that looks like our bar.
So these are some of the common slip hazards found in, I tried to minimise to our workplace. So wet floors, spills or dropped foods, greasy or oily foods, an incline of a ramp, footwear without a non-slip sole, or rain driven through front door by wind. So they're some of the most common slip hazards that you'll find. And as you can see over here, we've got a bit of an illustration of what that's more of a trip hazard over there.
You just set that up, how did it? Not usually like that, is it?
That is what I found when I walked past. Some common trip hazards in the workplace. So, boxes or rubbish on the floor, your food stuff's on the floor, a change in the walking surface from carpet to tiles, you could trip on the edge, cracked or damaged tiles and floor surfaces. They're a big one, especially with the elderly with walking sticks, go into a crack in the tile, or carrying loads that obstruct vision. People are easy to trip. Over here, once again, just another illustration. If you're walking past there, you could easily trip on that bag and end up with a nasty injury. So the implementing the risk control measures and eliminating the hazards. So the standard that's accepted the first time will become the standard that's expected. So if we eliminate the hazards before they become a standard, people will have that standard of throwing the rubbish in a bin, folding the boxes down, things like that. So the hierarchy of controls, there's 6 elements in the hierarchy of controls based on its level of importance. So eliminating the hazard is at the top, because if you can eliminate the hazard, you're not going to have it there in the first place. So for example, you can remove slip and trip hazards in the design stage by ensuring floors are level and consistent during construction, and install more power points to avoid having trailing power cords. That's just an example. An example of what you can do to eliminate. Substitution. So, like with our new bar there, we used to have a floor that was cracked and damaged and slippery and things like that. So we've now replaced it with a tile similar to that. So we've substituted what we had for something better to reduce the risk of that slip. So isolation. So isolation of the hazard that you've found. So someone spilled their drink all over the tiles. We'll cordon that area off. We'll clean it up. Once it's dry, we'll uncordon that area off. Or you could do the same thing when you're cleaning the bathrooms. So engineering controls. So once again, like we just did with our new bar, no more leaky equipment. The old fridges that used to leak down the floor, they're gone. Brand new fridges that don't leak. Adequate drainage. Obviously we've got that with our new bar as well, and the improved lighting so people can see where they're walking. So administrative controls. Obviously the use of wet floor signs is very common in practice, just to make people aware that there is a hazard present. Good safety training and supervision of staff so that they know to use those signs. And also keeping access ways clear, that's a big one. A lot of old people with their walking sticks, they hit a power cord that's sticking in a power point or a box that's on the floor, they're going to go down. So the last hierarchy of control is the personal protective equipment. Obviously wearing non-slip footwear which is in good condition, no soles falling off or cracked shoes or things like that. Particularly when climbing a ladder, it's easy to slip off a ladder when you have a cracked shoe or get it caught on the rung. So today we've talked about the role and the obligation of the PCBU to minimise risk as much as reasonably practicable. We've talked a little bit about the club's WHS reporting system, which will have a step-by-step guide for people on how to use it.
So that club's WHS portal can be suited to...
It's tailored to our club.
To our club, okay.
Yep.
Fantastic.
So it's set up as...
it's a reporting...
It's set up as Casino RSM Club at the moment. It's got all of our employees who were here when I set it up.
Yes.
And they all have different levels of access based on their position in the club. So management staff will have access to all the reporting, so you can search for your trends in hazards that have been reported, or trends in injuries that have been reported. And if you require it to go further, as far as workers' compensation, you can tick the box. Will actually notify CEM, Club Employees Mutual, about the injury. So it's a very good tool. Once we start using it,
especially for feedback and eliminating risk.
That's right. And anyone like things where I had an injury report in there the other day. One of the chefs, I think, cut their hand. Even if it's something that's not a major injury right now, but you can report it on there. If it becomes infected, say, well, this is exactly what's happened, rather than that piece of paper going missing and no one knows what happened then. This will keep it all there. It'll send an email out to all the management staff that are set up, so that the management staff are aware that that injury has happened. That'll be an automated thing. As soon as it gets submitted, that email will go out to all the managers to highlight that something's happened. So we've talked about some of the common slips, trips and hazards that are in the workplace, and a little bit about how to eliminate them. And we went over the hierarchy of controls to minimise the risk of injury. So if we've got any questions, anybody? Anything you'd like clarified from the presentation?
So at the moment we just use a hard copy to
At the
report
moment,
accidents,
people
and we
being-
file that.
That's right.
So this is going to take over from that. We'll input that into the system then, and it'll store it up.
That's correct, and that'll get you a history, and you can actually track what trends are happening with the injuries or with the hazards.
So should we get a hard copy of that now and give to the various departments?
Yeah, that's what I've been working on a bit of a guide so people know how to use it.
Yep.
And then it's just a matter of creating a shortcut on the computer so they go straight into it, go straight to their website, and all they've got to do is log in with their login and report what they want to report.
So it'll be from a certain time point on, and we'll still keep the old record.
That's right. Yeah.
To that point.
That's right. But it'll track everything moving forward. So it'll obviously take a bit of time to get some data to start tracking and trending, but over time that will build a good database.
So at the next WHS meeting, each department will get their own little.
Well, that's right.
feedback
You can
of
get
what it's
reports. You can get reports from the different areas. So it's pretty good in that way.
And as a PCBU, you need to have a record that we're proactive.
That's right. And this club's WHS, it also includes, it has staff inductions, a staff induction process, and it also has the contractor inductions. So every time a contractor comes, you can go through and check off that, yes, we've told them this, yes, we've told them this, they're aware, they've done the risk assessment, and it records all that as well. It also does a monthly workplace inspection, so every month it sends me an email and asks me to do a workplace inspection. And I go around and check off all the different things on the list, and I can also add things to that list tailored to our actual venue. So it's got basically all the general things, and then we add to it from there.
Looks like a good plan.
I was actually very surprised when I got onto that it was actually that comprehensive. It was really good.
Yeah.
So
And it sounds as though it's simple to use too.
it's very easy to use. It's all web based, so it's really easy to use. You click the icon, it's got a big plus there to add incident, add reports, so it's really good. Well, if there's no more questions, thank you very much for coming and attending, everybody.
Thank you, Scott.
And we'll see you all here for the next presentation.
Well presented.
When's the next presentation? Oh, so these are an ongoing thing, are they?
No.
No, you're only kidding.